Welcome back, and today we are going to continue talking about weddings. Today's wedding topic will be around budgeting and finding your venue. Starting off with how to budget. Budgeting will be the best thing that you can do for your wedding, whether you're getting financial help or not. You want to make sure that you have a set budget. You don't want to just kind of spend and maybe even overspend on wedding items and expenses that aren't necessary. So you really want to think through your budget. In order to do that, you will need to know what are your major expenses. That will be your dress, your venue, food, cake, all those things that come with the wedding planning process. You want to know what is your max budget, what can you afford? Take into consideration whether you'll have help or not, and what can you financially spend to have your wedding. What are some things that you can do that might be DIYs, or even just really budgeting and figuring out how to find something that's very affordable for you. You want to think of two categories. What are things that are must-have at your wedding, and what are some things that can be crossed off the list if you really have to? So the first step is to set your budget. Based off of your financial ability, what is your max budget? For us, we paid for our wedding ourselves. The only thing that was gifted to me was my dress from my mom, but the venue, the food, cake, all decor, everything, my husband, we actually paid for everything wedding-wise except for my dress. Like I said, everyone's wedding journey is different. Some folks are able to get help from their family, and others may not be that lucky just due to circumstances, or there's even others who may not even want the help. Once you have your set price or your set budget, start breaking that down into what you have left in terms of your timeline. What I mean by that is once we had our set budget, because we set our budget about 2 years before our wedding when we were initially engaged, I sat down and planned out for the next 24 months how we would break down our month-to-month contributions towards the wedding. So being able to set aside how much can you afford to take out of your paycheck or whatever you're using to pay for this wedding, and putting that towards the wedding budget. After me and my husband discussed how much we could afford each, we each would contribute into the wedding fund every month for 24 months. We stuck to that contribution amount no matter what. So we went month by month saying I can contribute X amount and made sure we stuck to that amount. We never contributed less. If we could, we would contribute more, which did happen more often. But you always want to aim for contributing more rather than contributing less, or just sticking to your amount to hit your budget. And I just pretty much divided our overall budget by 24 months. Keep in mind that for the venue itself, we did have to pay in 3 installments. We did the deposit, our first installment. Actually, I think we paid in 3 or 4 installments. I can't really remember, but we did have to put down money for the deposit, which was the first payment, your second payment, your third installment, and then the final payment. Give or take, if we had 3 payments, I can't remember, but we basically broke that down into aiming for those installments. The reason why I'm mainly focusing on my venue is because I was fortunate enough to get an all-inclusive venue where my food, my cake, DJ, florist, and some minor decor was included in my venue. So a lot of those other expenses that you could pay outside of a venue were included in my venue. And I'll talk about the venue hunting process after this, but this is why I'm mainly focusing on the venue, because that was our only real expense. And then minor decor and stuff, like our outfits and hair and all that other stuff, we also included into our budget. So we kept that in mind. Things that we would have to get, like our wedding bands, paying for our license, all of that we kept in mind, and also budgeted higher to make sure that we were able to cover everything. And then we also had like an emergency funds budget where we pretty much like set our highest budget that would be used on everything wedding, and then taking it up a notch by a few thousands to make sure that if we needed money for emergencies or whatever the case may be, we had that spare money in hand just in case something went wrong, we forgot to pay for something, or you just forget that you need something until the last minute, because that was something that I heard a lot, is that you won't think about a lot of things until you're almost at the time of having your wedding. And so we want to make sure that we had that emergency fund in case we just needed it. Sticking to your budget plan and you have an appropriate plan set out in place, you'll be able to pay for your wedding accordingly. If you're having help with this, you will then just put into your budget plan how much people are giving you and when they're giving you that money and what that money is tailored for. So I had an entire spreadsheet and document dedicated to budgeting and making sure that we were hitting our monthly budget, as well as a document that outlined everything that we needed to pay for all of our expenses, and adding on to that document as needed. So just keeping a very organized and structured place where all this information lives and you can look at it monthly. I think that's the biggest thing, is you want to track your budget monthly. You just want to make sure that you're keeping track of your expenses and where your money is going. One thing to consider is, will you have any type of gathering or day of morning breakfast, lunch for your bridesmaid, your groomsmen? Because that needs to be in your budget. You really have to think about that. So that's just something to remember. I did end up having a getting ready with me type party with my bridesmaids the morning of. So I had to pay for a breakfast, lunch, snacks, but that was also included in my emergency kit. I will be doing a video for my emergency kit and what was included in that kit later on, but those are just some of the expenses that you want to think about, and just making sure that your bridesmaids are having a great morning. If you are doing something like that, it's not necessary. I wanted to do that because a lot of my bridesmaids were coming from out of state. I haven't seen them in years and we are really close, and I wanted to spend time with them while they were here. And it just really made my morning, but that is completely up to you in terms of how you want to go about doing the morning of, the day of your event. I can always do a more in detail budget breakdown, but I'm going to jump into venue hunting and what that entailed. So for venue hunting, we actually started looking for a venue over a year in advance. That's because I know the most important thing is to book your venue about a year out from your wedding date. So you want to make sure you set a wedding date and book a venue a year from that date to secure that venue. A lot of venues book within 12 months of a certain date. So just to make sure that you're able to get the venue that you're going for, you want to start looking as soon as possible. And just keep in mind that the prices change at every venue throughout different seasons, and they'll tell you that, or at least I had the experience of them telling us that. But you want to just keep some of that in mind. So when we began our search, we had a venue in mind. And this place was actually Oak Canyon. It is in Anaheim. It is a recreational park / trail. And I believe like it has a summer camp as well. Beautiful location. And we've been there a few times. There was a time that we went there and there was a wedding happening. And that's when we realized you can have weddings there. I don't recall if we were engaged at that time, possibly. And so I did make a note. I looked into it. This place is very affordable. Off the top of my head, I remember this venue being around $1,000 to book it. If you are an Anaheim resident, I think it's closer to $800 to $900 to book this location. Keep in mind that this is a ceremony only location. You cannot have a reception here. So if you are interested in having a reception, you would have to book another venue or location. They do have some suggestions that they provide you with. I believe there's a community center about 5 minutes away from here that you can use if you wanted to book that. This time we weren't sure if we were going to have a reception or not. And so we did end up booking this location. This was our original wedding venue. And then when we decided we wanted to have a reception, we were looking for reception locations and was having a very hard time. We thought about doing a restaurant reception because we've seen that done and done very well, but it just was not what we were looking for. We couldn't find anything we really wanted. And the whole situation just became us booking this location and not really being happy about it. And so I was fortunate to have booked this so far in advance that they do have a refund policy. Like if you cancel before 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months prior. And I still was with it well within that timeline because of the fact that I booked so early. I was able to get a refund. So that location, as beautiful as it was not the location for us, but wanted to share in case anyone was looking for more affordable locations. And I think that could have been a great experience if we did not want to have a reception, which we originally did not want to, and then changed our mind. And that's just something to keep in mind. Making sure that what you're doing in terms of planning this entire experience, your wedding, it is what you want and you are not following what other people are telling you to do. I think that also goes with financial aspect in terms of if you're getting help or not. We were fortunate enough to not need the help. And so because we were paying for this ourselves, we did not have to get buy-in or feel obligated to do things because this was our money that was being spent, so we could spend it how we wanted to. And we decided we wanted to do a reception. Not that people didn't want us to do one. It was just, we thought we didn't want to do a reception. We thought that was something that, I don't know, we just didn't want to do. And then after really thinking about it, we're like, no, actually, if we're going to do it, let's do the full experience. Let's have the reception, no regrets. And so this is why that location did not work out for us. So the next 3 locations that we looked into were all under Wedgwood Weddings, which is a well-known franchise, or at least I think is well-known. I knew about it prior to beginning my wedding planning journey, and I've only been to one location before, and I ended up going to 2 more locations as we started our wedding venue hunt after the last location. So the first location we thought about booking was in Downey, I believe, in LA. This location I found out about because I've been to a few weddings in that location. It's a beautiful location. It is Rio Hondo. It is a golf course and it is a really beautiful location within LA. I did not know about this until I went to a few weddings here. This location was very central and we thought it would be a very good location. After touring the location, and like I said, I've been there a few times, so I already knew what the layout of this venue was. I just wanted to see it through a different lens, like seeing it as a bride-to-be with my spouse and my mom, and being able to just look at this location. This is a very beautiful location. It just wasn't the location for us. Kind of similar to finding the right dress for you, you have to find the right location for you. That location has to scream, this is our location. This is where we see ourselves getting married. And for the both of us, it wasn't it. It was not our location. And I can't even tell you why. It just was not something that we really were like, yeah, I can see us having our wedding here. Outside of the fact that it was the closest location within this franchise for our family, that was not a good enough reason for us because, like I said, since we were paying for it, we wanted to make sure we were doing things for us and not for others. Overall, beautiful spot. If you're looking for a place within Downey, this is a great location. I've seen many weddings happen here. Each and every wedding I've seen hosted here, it was beautiful. Pictures came out great. So just a thought, just a location. If you're looking for something within the LA area, think about Rio Hondo. The next location we went to was further out. This location was within the Temecula area. This was their Fallbrook location. Wedgwood has a website where they have all their locations throughout the US. California has locations within Southern and Northern California. And so I was looking at this website, so I liked what I seen on pictures, and so we took a tour. This location is also very beautiful. It was a very gorgeous location. All of their locations that I got to see, very beautiful. This one was a little bit on the maybe side. We were like, this is a really nice location. I remember them having this pathway with vines off of the archway. The architecture on this location, lovely. This location was also a golf course. And so I feel like a lot of the golf course locations are very pretty because they're very spacious. But this was a maybe for us after leaving. We just weren't convinced that this was our wedding venue, but it was definitely on the list. We had a lot of discussion about this venue after leaving. There was a lot more for us to talk about, and it was on the maybe list. With that being said, we did have a booking for our final location, and so we wanted to see that location first before making a decision or deciding if we should go out and schedule more bookings with other locations. There is a Chino location as well as an Irvine location. Very beautiful. Love the pictures on the website, but they were outside of our budget. They were pretty high, and we just couldn't afford that, nor did we really want to spend that much, but those locations are beautiful if you can afford their prices. The final location that we went to tour was in Corona. This is the retreat location. This location is Spanish inspired, and so the architecture follows that. Once we visited this location, this was our this is it moment. We instantly, while there, were like, this is it. This is exactly what we're looking for. The backdrop of the mountains, the architecture, the just very intimate environment that this provided was very much, this is what we were looking for. That's how you know a venue is something that is for you. If you walk in and just like with a wedding dress, you're just like, this is it. I'm sold. No questions asked. This was our location. We did talk about it and did not just sign or put a deposit down the same day. But we knew when we left that this was our location. We were completely sold. I think what really did it for us is just the intimacy of this location, the backdrop for sure. I always seen myself having an outdoor wedding, and a lot of these locations were outdoor, or you can do indoor. For the outdoor portion of this venue, it just was everything for me, and I definitely wanted this to be our location. And so with that being said, this ended up being our wedding venue. This is also very convenient for us. It would be more out of the way for our family members, but not too far. Either way, this ended up being our location. We loved it. It fell within our budget. We discussed the budgeting, the prices, and how they broke down. We went home and talked about each venue, how they met our prices, how they didn't. What are things that we liked about it, what we didn't. So we talked about the pros and cons of each venue. At the end, the retreat, the Corona location ended up being our favorite location, of course, and that is the venue we went with. So that's just how our wedding venue and budgeting process went. I hope that helps someone. I had a great experience with this planning process, and because everything was all inclusive, I felt that I did not stress out because of that. People were wondering why I was having a stress-free 2 years, and a lot of that was because the venue took care of everything. With all of that I talked about, you're also given a wedding planning. You're also giving a wedding planning team where you work with them throughout your booking process, and they meet with you regularly to check in and make sure that they have everything on their end. So they were meeting with me to discuss any decor details, because they did set up all the decor. Anything that I purchased and I wanted to be a part of my wedding, they set it up. They just needed pictures on what I wanted it to look like or where I wanted things. And so we would go through the list of items that I would be providing them, and any of the items that they had at their venue that I wanted to use. We would update that list throughout the months and just check in to make sure that I still wanted these certain things set up a certain way. I will also have a video on my decor items that I purchased and anything that I use later on, having a wedding planner provided for me. And so this person went through our rehearsal day, which was the day before the wedding, made sure that we understood what we were supposed to be doing, what our wedding party was supposed to be doing, the flower girl, the ring bearers, making sure we all just understood the run of show. And then the day of the wedding, they actually were there to do everything and make sure that we were good. My wedding coordinator was great. She made sure that we were hydrated, that we had everything we needed. Everyone was supposed to be where they need to be. The decor was where they needed to be. The decor was set up and everything just ran smoothly. So it was great that I did not have to hire someone outside of the venue, and having a wedding coordinator that was a part of the venue, knew the venue well, knew the staff, really came in handy. And so this is why I was not as stressed. I did get anxiety about 2 weeks prior to the wedding, and I think that's just normal from what I've heard. You just start to stress about everything and wondering if you have everything, if you miss anything. And in reality, everything was set. I didn't need anything. It was just normal anxiety from just, you've been planning this for 2 years, and I wanted everything to just run smoothly. I wanted everything to be perfect, which it was. And I really have to thank the planning team, the wedding coordinator, the staff in general. Everyone was very friendly, and they made sure that we had an amazing night. The banquet captain was amazing. This is a person that is making sure that your food is given to you, that you have everything you need, from drinks to cocktails to just water, anything that you needed, as well as packing up food for us and our top layer of our cake to make sure that we had that for later. So I really appreciated the staff here. It was a wonderful experience, and it couldn't have went any more smoother. And I think that does come with the all-inclusive experience, because the only thing that I had to get outside of my venue was my dress. My husband had to get his suit and all of that. We got stuff for the wedding party, which I'll talk about in terms of the boutonnieres and the bouquets, as well as decor. I had to get light decor that I just really wanted to be a part of my wedding. And like I said, I'll do a video on that, but I did not have to worry about much at all because everything was covered, and they made sure that I hit all of my deadlines in terms of meeting with all of the vendors that they were working with. I hope this video did help someone with the budgeting process, as well as just thinking about their venue, maybe even providing you with some venue options if you're in Southern California. If you're interested in seeing more of the behind the scenes of my wedding experience and planning process, stay tuned, as I will be dropping more videos within the next few months.